Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to tackle one of the most frustrating problems for English learners, right? That feeling when you can understand everything perfectly, but when it's your turn to speak, your mind just goes blank. Well, let's dive into this and let's build a superhighway from your brain to your mouth. Sound familiar? You're watching a movie, you get the joke, you understand the question perfectly, and then silence. Your mind is just a blank slate. It's a really common feeling, but I promise you it has absolutely nothing to do with how smart you are. This is a technical problem, and today we're going to fix it.
So, first things first, what is actually going on here? Well, we can call it the mind-mouth gap. And the key thing you gotta understand is that this is all about an imbalance, not a lack of knowledge.
So, the real problem here, it's what we call a training imbalance. You've likely spent years getting really good at input, listening and reading. You've absorbed tons and tons of information. But the output, the actual physical act of speaking, it just hasn't gotten the same amount of gym time. And hey, it's a totally normal and, most importantly, a totally fixable situation.
Okay, here's the best way I can explain it. Imagine your brain is this amazing, massive library, just fully stocked with all this English knowledge. That's your input. It's fantastic. But the road from that library to your mouth, well, it's like an unpaved, empty dirt road. The knowledge is definitely in there. It just doesn't have a smooth way to get out. So what's our job? It's to get in there and pave that highway.
So how do we actually do that? How do we fix this? Well, it all starts with a really crucial mindset shift. You've got to start thinking about English like it's a sport, not some boring history class you have to ace.
See, so many of us get stuck in this perfectionism trap, right? We're trying to build the most grammatically perfect sentence every single time we open our mouths. And guess what? That is what causes you to freeze. But native speakers, they don't care about perfection. They care about connection. They care about the speed and the flow of the conversation. Listen to this. Your goal is not to be perfect. It's to connect.
This right here is the new way to think about it. You haven't been studying for a history test where you just memorize a bunch of facts and rules. You've been training for a sport. Or think of it like learning to play the piano. You can know all the music theory in the world, but you can't actually play until your fingers have that muscle memory. Speaking English is exactly the same. It is a physical skill.
So this is your new mantra. Seriously, say it out loud with me. Don't overthink it. The second you start to worry about finding the perfect word or the perfect grammar, you're lost. You've got to just speak.
Okay, so let's get practical. How do you build that speed and flow without overthinking? The secret? It's to stop trying to build every single sentence from scratch. This is such a game changer. Native speakers aren't some kind of linguistic geniuses building perfect sentences in real time. Nope, they are masters of recycling. They have tens of thousands of pre-built phrases, or chunks, that they use over and over and over. By the way, sounds like a plan. What do you mean by that? Think of them like pre-built Lego blocks that you can just snap into place without even thinking about it.
Next up, let's talk vocabulary. We're going to upgrade it from academic to street smart. This is all about sounding more natural, more modern, which in turn boosts your confidence and helps you connect way better.
It's pretty amazing how just one little word swap can totally change the vibe of what you're saying. For instance, instead of the very academic, I understand, a much more natural, street-smart way to say it is just, I get it. It's faster. Or instead of saying you suddenly stop talking, if you say you freeze, that perfectly captures that feeling of tension. And instead of trying to be efficient in a conversation, what we're really looking for is flow, that really smooth, easy back and forth feeling.
Okay, let's dig into a couple of really common phrases with some subtle differences. It depends is a magic phrase, honestly. It doesn't mean you don't know the answer. It means the answer changes with the situation. Someone asks, do you like scary movies? Well, it depends. See? Now, I'm not sure, that's different. That means you just don't have the information. It's a small difference, but a really important one.
And here's another super simple upgrade. Saying "to be honest" is perfectly fine, of course, but just by moving that word to the front. Honestly, I don't think that's a good idea. It just has this more modern, punchy feel to it. It's a tiny tweak that makes your English sound really current.
All right, we've figured out the problem, we've shifted our mindset, so now it's time for the daily workout. And I've got two super simple but really powerful exercises you can start doing the second this is over to really start paving that muscle highway.
Okay, exercise number 1 is what I call the narrative walk. It's easy. As you go about your day, just say what you're doing or what you're thinking out loud. Okay, where are my keys? Wow, it's freezing in here. It sounds almost too simple, but what you're doing is actively building those pathways from your brain to your mouth. Second, the 2-second filler rule. The next time your brain freezes, don't just stop talking. Use a filler. Or let me see. What this does is it keeps your speaking engine running, right? It stops you from completely stalling out.
All right, so let's wrap this up with a super quick recap. First, speaking English is a sport, not a history test. Second, your goal is connection and flow, so ditch the perfectionism. Third, use those pre-built chunks, those Lego blocks, instead of single words. And finally, you have to practice every single day to build that muscle highway.
And please, remember this, because it is the absolute truth. The English you need to speak fluently, it's already inside that incredible library in your brain. You don't have a knowledge problem. You just have a highway problem, and we're going to build that road.
So, I'm going to leave you with one final question to get you started. The work starts right now. What's the very first thing you are going to say out loud in English today?